Hello, welcome to another episode of stampinwithcandace.com and episode 12 of Scrapped, the series that doing with a couple of my friends. I guess it's a few, there's four of us. Um, this is our third month, the last episode of the third month, and hopefully you've been enjoying them. We have decided we want to continue, and so we have some new stuff planned for the following months. Have you ever had something go not quite the way it was supposed to? Well, that is what happened with this episode. So I am sorry for the delay. We usually try to get them out on Thursday, but life did not go as planned. And then I thought all recorded and it didn't record. So we're changing this up a little bit and I'm going to show you some of the elements that I did on the page because obviously I finished the page when I did the other episode. If for some reason it shows up here when I uh, download this, then I will add bits and pieces from that into it. But if not, I can at least show you the major things that I wanted to share. So you may be aware if you've been watching the other episodes for this month, we are featuring the in colors. Every year, Stampin' Up! Brings out 5 new in colors, and they have them for 2 years. Allows us to keep fresh, current colors in our offerings along with our core colors. And so my friends have featured a lot of the different ideas using the ink colors. And today I am going to share my ideas on them. And so let's get started. I'm going to switch cameras here real quick so you can see what I'm doing. I'm actually going to set this aside for a minute. I want to show you the in colors. Now, you notice I said there was 5. I think many of us have already said this, but the ink pad, they had some issues with it. And so we cannot get the ink pad in the this color right here, which is cloud cover. There are other ways that we can get that. One of them is the little mini ink pads. You can buy it in the set. I think Amelia shared that. Or you can buy an uninked one and get the reinker and ink it. This is the blends. It does come in the blends. It comes in all the papers, ribbons, accessories, and stuff. Um, but you can also use the markers, which I am going to share how I colored mine using the markers today. But we have Cloud Cover, as I mentioned, Darling Duckling's Secret Sea. This is almost kind of a really dark blue, blackish color. I really like it, honestly. Timid Tiger and Strawberry Slush. You'll notice that this one is a different shape than these. That's because this is actually a returning in colors. It was an in color years ago, and they brought it back. So I was super excited. So I grabbed it out of my stash when I purchased everything. So we're going to set these aside, but actually I'm going to pull these over here. So what I wanted to share with you on my page, I am actually sharing how I pulled in some of our core colors and last year's in color into my set of what I'm doing. So I added Azure Afternoon and Petal Pink, which are both part of our core colors, and then Petunia Pop, which is one of our 20, 2020, let's see, 2023, 2025 in colors, I think is how it's numbered. I'm not positive on that, but those are the colors I'm going to be using. And I also wanted to share how I chose those colors. So my friends that I mentioned before that I've been doing this scrapped with are Linda, Amelia, and Rachel. And we went on a trip to North Carolina for Stampin' Up! In March. And that's actually when we decided to do this. And so I am scrapbooking some of the pictures from there. And as soon as they see these pictures, they'll know exactly what stamp set and everything I'm doing. But I chose the colors based upon some of the pictures. So this is me, Linda, Rachel, Amelia, and a friend of ours, a friend of Rachel's, Vicky, that we had went to lunch with So these are the pictures I'm using, and the stamp set, if you can't guess it, I'm going to be using the where did it go? I didn't even terrific toadstools, because we went to this restaurant called the Mellow Mushroom, and it was just so fun. I loved all of the decorations they had there, and we were laughing, and I said, I have got to use my um, toadstool stamp set to make a scrapbook page. So these colors worked perfect with my pictures. So that is kind of what I did. So I'm going to move these over here. I want to share a couple of the things that I did. So I did use the two different alphabet dies, cut them out in the different colors. I have shown how to use the masking um, paper to lay across them, so it makes it really easy. You can check that in other episodes. I did have it in the one that I did for tonight, but of course my page is now done since that recording didn't work. The other thing I used is the stylish shapes. So these circles here for my design, I had found a couple of designs on Pinterest, and it had all these circles that I thought would be really fun with the terrific toadstool. And so what I did was I just cut out a whole bunch of different circles in the I'll pull those over here in a second, in the different colors, so that I had a bunch of different things to work with. And then I did pull in two other stamps. Well, no, three other stamp sets actually. So I pulled in the painted stripes. This is a background stamp set. And so I've used it directly in here. I've taken it off, put it on my glass mat. There's also a background one. For this, I did a large piece. Again, I would show you, but it's already done. But I did a large piece and then a strip, and I'll show you where it's done. And so I just took my ink pad, and when I opened it up, I just stamped it directly onto that, and then I was able to flip it onto um, my page that I was doing. I have found when you're working with a background stamp that is large like this, it's much easier to try and to turn the ink pad over and ink it than if this was on something to try and ink it onto the ink pad. So that's just a little tip there. Again, if I'm doing something small, I might just stick it right here and then turn my paper over to it. So lots of things. Love this one. This one was, I think, an online exclusive that came out not too long ago. And then I also used this, which was another online exclusive, sorry, pattern of friendship, and just this: you bring so much joy and laughter to my life, and friends are the family you choose for yourself. Worked perfect on this page. I could have used some of these other sayings as well. And so the one thing I wanted to share with you is we have um, these new two-toned cardstocks. So if you look here and I flip this one, you can see that there's two different colors. So this is the Petunia Pop, and if you flip it over, it's got the other side, but it also has a white core, which is really cool because it allows you to have a little bit of fun with it. So I'm going to show you. This was some samples that we did at the convention we went to. So when you tear it, you can get that white core. This is probably one of my favorite things to do with it, beyond the other thing I'm going to show you. You can use sandpaper on it. You can crumple it up. You can fold it so you get both sides. It gives you more of a variety of things that you can do with the paper. It's also thinner. So when you're using it, it's not as heavy as our regular weight paper, so it makes it easier to manipulate it and use it for different things. So the paper I have right here actually came from the Memories in Bloom um, scrapbooking workshop, and I had already put this all together, and I had some leftover pieces that happen to work perfect with what I'm doing. So this is Darling Duckling, and then this was Secret Sea. So you're not going to find this in anything else. It was exclusive to this, but it's just a one-sided designer series paper, but it worked really well with what I was doing. So we're going to move these out of the way, and I want to show you one of the other really fun things you can do with this paper. So this is just an embossing folder. It's one of our thinner embossing folders. And so to use it, you're actually going to use the extra piece that you use when you're cutting. The thick embossing folders, we would just use our embossing top plate. Because it's a thinner one, we're going to use this one as well. We're going to grab our cut and emboss machine here. You'll notice I am putting it through on the folded side first. I have been taught that that helps keep it from cracking. I don't know if that's completely true, but we're going to follow that anyway. Um, move these out of the way. So now we have this fun embossed piece. And if I lift it up close, you can kind of see where a little bit of that white is peeking out because it tears it just a little bit, but that's okay because that's actually what I want. And I'm just going to take some sandpaper and I am going to brush over the top of it, and that embossed images there are going to catch and make that white center pop out. So it gives a really, really fun look. So that is one of the elements that I used on this. I'll show you the page here in just a second. I did want to show you the uh, Stampin' Write markers. So I will say they work a little bit better to draw directly on or color directly onto the stamp when it is our red rubber, but you can do it with the photopolymer as well. So we have two ends. You have the writing end, which is great, the Secret Sea, perfect for journaling. But then you also have a brush tip end. So the brush tip end is what I use, and you can just brush it right over the top of your stamp, and then you can stamp to get that image. Do it one more time here. You can see that I can get that image. So even if I don't have and you can do that with any of our markers. So if you can't afford getting all of the stamp pads right away, it's a great way to get them. The larger the image, when you're working with photopolymer, the little bit more difficult it is to get the ink to not, what's the word I'm looking for? Streak, I guess. It works a little bit better on our red, but rubber ones, but obviously works on both. The other thing I wanted to share with you is I am actually also using the Impressions a Bloom stamp set. So I'm actually not using the flowers. You may have seen me do this before, but I love the little inside here. It makes the perfect polka dot. And let me grab one more so you can see. So I told you I had cut out a bunch of different circles in the colors I was using, and I wanted to give a little bit more dimension to them. So I used my Versamark with the polka dot here to add some dimension to these circles. And the cool thing about the Versamark is it's acting kind of like a watermark, and it will show up a little bit more as it dries. So it is definitely a lot harder to see on this lighter color. These here in my scrap pile that I can stamp it on. So you can see what the cool part is I was able to stamp on any of these. I'm going to lift them all up to the camera so you can see. With the same stamp, same ink. I did not have to change inks to get that just subtle little stamped color onto my project there. So that's a great way to also enhance your paper and a color, even if you don't have the matching ink. The Versamark is a great way to get those colors. So we are going to bring in my pages now and share with you. Actually, before I do that, I am going to share this. Hang on. I can get to the right thing here. I want to share with you my pages that I did. Okay, we're going to hurry and turn these one. Uh, well, at least this one off here. So this is the first layout that I did that I was using for my page. You can see all the little circles here, and I'm going to add the mushrooms for my idea. And then let's see here. If I go the right way? Nope, wrong way. Um, this is my second page. So you can see that they were two different layouts, but they had similar things. They both had the, I wish I could have them side by side, but keep going the wrong way. Sorry. They both have the uh, long strips with the diagonals. And then this one used kind of some flower images that I figured could be similar to the circle images that I used in the other pictures that I had uh, looked at and shared. So just pulling this up from my gallery really quick. So these are the ideas that I used when I was coming up with my layout. So I love being able to take different layouts. Let's see if I can switch it here. Turn this one back on and this one back up. Um, so I love it when I can switch it. There we go. You and use a layout, but make it work for my purposes. So this is that first one that had all the little strips, the little circles going across it. You can see where I tied in some of them, not all of them, but some of them have the Versamark stamping on it. I did stamp and fussy cut the uh, toadstools out. That was because I have a punch for this and this, but it doesn't leave the white around it, and I wanted the white around it, and I had to cut the others, so I just went ahead and cut them all. Um, I've used some dimensionals to pop some of the elements off. I've used, I think, everything except for the words and the little bug. Those are the only things I did not use, but you can see where I added this, and this is those three papers. So it adds a little bit of dimension. One is just the normal, the other is that one that I embossed and did the sanding on it, and then this is the letters that I've did. This is some ribbon, and if you watched Amelia's, she showed you how to do kind of a hidden journaling, and I did the same thing here. This I just used a punch to punch that and create that, and I can add some little journaling. It is at the top of the page, so you'll be able to pull it out, and I've just popped that up. I also used the flat in color 2527 excuse me, pearls to add a little bit of extra. And then you can see that subtle stamping in the background here of this one, the painted stripes. You'll see it a lot more on this other page. One of the other things I wanted to share with you was this down at the bottom. All I did was simply take my marker, and I have two different ones, and you have the two different edges. So I just, on the one, dragged the bigger edge, and on the other, I did the smaller edge. And if you'll remember the design that I shared, it had some paper strips or something along the bottom. But rather than doing the paper strips, I decided to just do a little bit of um, the marker. So that's another fun way to add color to and design to your project. Um, I could have used a ruler to make it nice and straight, but because this is kind of wavy, I wanted that same, mellow, we're chilling. And these ones I did keep a little bit smaller, but I still wanted to share those mushrooms because I just thought they were really fun. This was the outside and on the wall in the restaurant. So this is my second page. And my pictures are definitely bigger on this one because that's who I wanted to highlight, my friends. You'll notice I made the frame a little bit larger on these two. I haven't decided what I want to write here, but I was able to use the secret C to write across here. I've added a little bit more of the marker lines, and this time instead of going across, I've got two little elements here with my friends popped up. Again, I've carried this from one page to the other. So even though they were two different designs, um, adding the elements that I did, I was able to uh, carry it from one page to the other and make them flow and match. Uh, Such a fun trip that we had, a very fun place to go. I did have a bunch of these little leftover circles and stuff, so I will share this really quick. I gotta grab them back here. I decided I was going to make some cards with those leftover circles. So you can see this card, I used the same concept here that I and did it in a cluster with, again, that painted stripes on the back. Now, one thing I wanted to point out really quick, if you look at this, it is not going to fit. So I stamped, 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 but this allowed me to go right over that line there, and then the white space in between, I was able to line it up so that it looks like a fully stamped page, but it's not. So it kind of creates that feel of a designer paper without a designer paper there, using one of those big background stamps. And so these are the two fun cards. This one I did more similar to this, only I have the stripes going the opposite direction. But yes, very fun, able to use those sayings and the ribbon and the leftover pieces to make those cards. You can see some of them have the little polka dots on them. Not all of them, just wanted to add a little bit of texture onto them. So I hope you enjoyed that and you learned a little. If for some reason my other one does actually download when I download this one, then I will add some of those elements when I finish up and finish up the picture. But again, yeah, sorry, or not the picture, the video. It just did not go as planned, which is how life goes. And it took a lot longer, so I do apologize. Next month, we do have some all new themes coming up. We are doing each other's takes on one of the designs in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. So there's some layout designs in there, and we've chosen one. So you'll be able to see what each of us have picked and how we have utilized that design. And then we've got some more fun things coming up. So I hope you'll continue to join us. Subscribe to our YouTube pages. You can follow me on Facebook, on Instagram. I share a lot on there. I do have a blog and Pinterest as well. Not quite as active on that. And my videos are on YouTube. I go live every month, or not every month, every week. So it is every month, just 4 times. So hopefully you can join me for some of those, and I will see you then. Thanks again for joining me. Again, my name is Candace Anderson from Hiram, Utah, and check me out on stampinwithcandace.com. Thanks so much and have a fabulous day.